Hello, everyone. This is Chris. This is your boy, Chris, reporting for 2132.wordpress.com. And this evening, before we retire for the night, I'm just going to touch bases on a little bit about Game 5 between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors. Uh, as expected, and just like the previous four games, this was a nail biter. The result of the contest came down to the last 2 minutes of the game. It was really more about as far as which team made the most plays. In Game 5, the Warriors came out on top because they are the ones who made the plays that matter most in the last few minutes. Uh, I must say and take note of the master game that LeBron James had. Um, he is really coming to his own. He finished with a stat line of 40 points, 18 rebounds, and 11 assists. Um, but unfortunately, you could put up those type of numbers and still come up short with the victory.
Your lighting is bad. I don't want you to turn. You got a big glare, that's why.
Okay. Okay. Excuse me. I'm just trying to get my lighting together for the broadcast. Um, yeah, LeBron had a monster game and very little support, unfortunately. Um, J.R. Smith, he hit a few shots early on, especially in the first quarter, but it seemed like he was just pressing for the rest of the game from there on out. And he missed some tough shots. Um, Tristan Thompson, he was a monster on the boards as usual, but as we all know, he is a offensive liability, and you can't expect much from him at all. Matthew Deladova, he had a shaky game. Not only did he not contribute on the offensive end, but he was also torched on the defensive end. I give him credit; he was right there with Steph Curry all the way. His feet were set. He had his hand in his face, uh, but he just could not challenge Steph Curry enough on those shots. And we'll get to Steph Curry in a minute. Um, Cleveland Cavaliers, for the first time this postseason, they are facing elimination. Uh, but on the bright side, they do return home on Tuesday for Game 6. And I expect them to really feed off the energy that I expect the crowd to bring, because we all know that the Cavaliers nor their fans want to see the Warriors celebrating on their home floor. Golden State, they did everything tonight. They earned the win for Game 5. Steph Curry, he really he came out of his funk, hit a lot of shots, contested and uncontested. He came through for them when they really needed it in the fourth quarter, where he went off and scored 17 points. And a couple of those shots, he was standing at least 3 to 4 feet behind the 3-point line. So he was really in a zone. I thought Draymond Green had a monster game. He really is the motor for that team, just with his hustle plays, his energy. He really drives them and gets them going. And they also got a strong contribution from Andre Iguodala. Steve Kerr made some adjustments to remove him into the starting lineup, and he has been really productive in that role, whether it's him in the starting lineup or coming off the bench as a sixth man. The role that he has played basically for the entire season. But he came in and made some terrific plays between him and Harrison Barnes. One stretch in the fourth quarter, between the 5 and 4 minute mark, they were able to retain 5 straight offensive rebounds and second chance points. If you look at the stat sheet, they're off the chart. I mean, they out hustled the Cavaliers. They beat them on the boards, beat them on second chance points. It seemed like they were playing with Velcro on their fingers. Everything that they grabbed, they were getting. And they just seemed to step quicker than the Cavaliers. There was a lot of confusion, seemed to me. The chemistry was off between the players that were on the floor. Really don't know what to say, or much to say about the Cavaliers. LeBron cannot do it all on his own. He really can't. I mean, he's a wonderful player, a fantastic player. But games like this prove that he just cannot do it on his own. He can only do so much. And I think this series basically shows it comes down to the best player versus the best team. LeBron versus the Golden State Warriors. So for the next minute or two, I'm going to answer a couple of questions, notes that I took down during the press conferences, and just going to elaborate more on those. Okay, so you can ask me the first question.
So first question we have for you coming in is, what do you feel like was the turning point in the fourth quarter?
I feel like the turning point in the fourth quarter was around the 5 minute mark, when the Golden State Warriors were able to retain 4 straight possessions from their offensive rebounds. Cleveland could not get in there to get a rebound in the effort to begin a run. Golden State retained it 4 straight possessions. They just could not come up with the rebound, and they were able to score. And I believe at that point they had inflated the score to 7 points, if I'm not mistaken. So I felt like that was a turning point. And then a minute or two afterwards, Steph Curry got hot and hit 2 consecutive 3-pointers that I felt like really broke the Cavaliers' back. So in my opinion, that was the turning point.
Okay. Next question is, can LeBron do it all?
He can't. He can't. Like I said, you have to tip your hat off to him. I mean, that type of stat line, 40 points, 18 rebounds, 11 assists. What more can a man do? What more can he do? I mean, he's running the offense as point guard. He's being aggressive offensively. He's distributing the ball. He comes up with the hustle plays. What more can the man do? I mean, LeBron is doing it all. He really is. And they're going to have to find a way. They need somebody to really step in and help. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know that Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love are out. And this will probably be a different series if those two were available. But, I mean, you play with the hand that you dealt. And those players are really going to have to step up, especially J.R. Smith. I think I've mentioned this multiple times in my blogs. If you go back and read those, I expected him to be the X factor for the Cavaliers, to really be that energy guy to come in and ignite the offense when everything becomes stationary, or when LeBron just needs a breather or needs help. I expect him to really come in and contribute and shoot better, but he has really, really struggled in the series. I don't know if his nerves or, the stage of the finals is too much for him, or he's just kind of lost his stroke and can't find it. It's something. It's something. But LeBron's going to need some help, especially on the offensive end. He's going to need some help.
Right. Next question is, who is the X factor for both teams?
The X factor for both teams, as I just explained, J.R. Smith, he is the X factor for the Cavaliers. I really feel that him coming in, contributing will make a world of difference for them. And for the Golden State Warriors, you can easily say there's Andre Iguodala. I expect him to really come in and ignite that offense to give them a nice stretch coming off the bench. But Steve Kerr made those adjustments and actually inserting him into the starting lineup. So easily Andre Iguodala is the X factor. And Draymond Green, you already know what to expect from him. He has that motor. He's going to keep going. He's going to push the team, push that offense, continue to be aggressive on both ends. So those are your X factors for both teams.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
So LeBron James you can also say hi to our friends on Periscope as well.
Okay. Hello, everybody.
And so LeBron James had 40 points, 14 rebounds, 11 assists. Curry had 37 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. Can you explain how, even though LeBron has his triple-double and he is self-proclaimed greatest player in the world, how did he still manage to lose this game? What are your thoughts there?
Well, no help. It's as simple as that. LeBron James has no help. I mean, there was nobody on the team that came in today to help with the load. He is really carrying a heavy load with that team. We know that the team is offensively challenged. We know that, the fate of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love, the difference that they would have made if they were available for this series. But bottom line, LeBron James has no help. I mean, with that monster line, there's only so much that the man can do.
Omni Red says he was let down.
Yeah, he was let down. I watched his press conference, and it was obvious that he was irritable and disappointed in tonight's loss. That was pretty obvious in his body language and the way he was answering questions. So I expect him to probably put his foot in somebody's ass, either on the plane ride or in practice tomorrow. And they'll be ready for Tuesday. I don't expect them to lay down.
Now, David Adler actually says Warriors, exclamation point, Warriors going to take it.
A Warriors fan. Well, if they continue to play that the way that they are, I expect them to win. But again, they cannot get comfortable or lose that edge once they get on the road. I feel like with both teams, they play with a comfort level at home. But once they get on the road and get to a hostile environment that's against them, then they seem to kind of cringe somewhat. So Golden State, they need to come with that edge if they really want to win it on Thursday, and they should. On Tuesday, they should close it out in Cleveland.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. So in the press conference, David Blatt, the Cleveland Cavaliers coach, he said he had to make some decisions on minutes. Do you think the bench players are feeling the lack of usage as far as self-esteem, or how are they responding as far as not being played as much? Do you think it's mentally taking a toll on them? When they do get the minutes, they're kind of groggy and not really utilizing them? What are your thoughts there?
Well, I'm not sure if you all have heard this, but there was a report that came out a few hours after Game 4 on Thursday. And the report was that there were a few veterans on the team. No names were given, of course, but there were veterans on the team who complained about not seeing minutes, and that David Blatt, the head coach, was leaning too much on the starters, such as LeBron and Shumpert and those guys. Because if you look at the minutes average of the series, the starters, they're averaging a total of about maybe 43 to 44 minutes a game. And we all know that there are only 48 minutes in a basketball game. So the veterans felt like they were leaning too much onto the starters, and they were worn down and tired. Now, as you know, in the history of sports, that when you get to playoff basketball, you shorten up your rotation.
Let me interject one thing.
Yes.
Can you give David our blog site? He says you sound like you're a Sports Center analyst. He wants to give him the blog address real quick.
Okay, my blog address is 2132.wordpress.com. Now, 21 is written out in letters, and then you want to use the number 32.
Right. You can see that on our Periscope handle.
Periscope. Okay,
from Twitter.
2132.wordpress.com.
Okay, go ahead with what you're saying.
Where was that? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
so
you were talking about the rotation of guys.
Yeah, the rotation of the guys. They felt like the starters of the Cavaliers were worn out and really a step slow because of fatigue, because they have logged so many minutes in the playoffs. And so there was a report that the veterans were grumbling and upset about that, and that they wanted to be able to come in and relieve them. But let's be honest, when the guys off the bench have come in, what have they done? I mean, I have not seen much contributed from guys like James Jones and Mike Miller. Don't get me wrong, they've come in, they've hit a couple shots here and there. But for the most part, you can't lean and depend on those guys in the midst of a championship run. You just can't.
While you're talking about Miller and Jones, you know, Mozgov was mentioned as not really playing any accurate minutes that contributed anything. J.R. Smith, 14 minutes without scoring.
Yeah.
You know, what do you think some of these guys can do? Because, you know, LeBron wants to say he's the greatest player in the world, but obviously something didn't go right tonight. So what can these guys do to step it up? It seems like they just have cold moments. Like, what do you think they should do?
Well, LeBron, yes, he is. At this moment, he is the greatest player in the league, in the world, whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, it is a team sport. He can only do so much, and he needs guys like Mozgov and James Jones and Shumpert and J.R. Smith. He needs these guys to really step in and really fill in the void for Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. Mozgov,
David jumps in and says J.R. Smith was hitting threes. I like it. How many threes did he hit?
Well, no.
And how long did it take him to hit them?
Well, J.R. Smith, he hit a handful of shots in that first quarter. He was able to warm up. But I know that one thing that kind of unbalanced that is that he made a couple of boneheaded plays. He got caught up in foul trouble. Then it seemed like in that second half, he was really pressing and forcing a lot of shots that just were not there. I mean, it's a hit and miss league. There's no in between. It's a hit and miss league. A lot of those shots, you know, some days you'll hit, a lot of those shots you take, you'll miss them. And today was just one of those days that he missed a handful of those shots.
Gotcha. Thank you. Next question. So Steph said that there are trade-offs. Like him and LeBron were like playing a chess game. So do you think that was actually chess strategy or lack of defense by both teams late in the game due to fatigue or something to that effect?
Well, the thing is that the game is on the line. You're down the stretch, last 4 or 5 minutes, and they are the leaders of their team. And they want to be aggressive and want to put their teams in the best position possible to win the game. So I don't think it was any type of anything personal. You know, I'm trying to outdo you. I think it was about both players trying to lead their teams to victory tonight. Yeah,
Dwayne Wade did tweet, anything you can do, I can do better. And it kind of sounded like he was doing a lean towards the Warriors. I wasn't quite sure if he was on a Warriors lean or a Cavs lean. Do you think Dwayne Wade might be kind of pulling on the Warriors side because he's got a little salt in his wound? David also says Curry hasn't played like himself yet, even though this was his best performance in the finals.
Well, absolutely, I agree. I agree. I thought Steph Curry, he had good games in the first 3. And we all know what happened in games. The first 2 games, we all know what happened in games 3 and 4. He went ice cold, just couldn't hit anything. You know, a lot of people wanted to get Matthew Dellavedova and hailed him as the greatest defensive player in the league. But I mean, a lot of the shots that Steph Curry took today, he's been taking all series long. He just happened to hit them tonight.
Gotcha.
So I agree. Tonight was his best performance yet of this series.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So in LeBron's interview, he did call out and gave Steph credit, but he said that the offensive rebounds that he and the Cavs weren't able to grab were to blame. He says that broke them down, and he doesn't at all at one point mention that he didn't get any help. Well, he didn't get a lot of help from his teammates. So I know you talked about this a little bit earlier, but LeBron mentions, I've got to be better. The guy's getting triple doubles every night. He's playing all minutes possible with 3 seconds of rest here and there. What do you think extra he can do, or is that a cop-out to kind of say, I'm LeBron James, so that's what I have to say because I'm the greatest player in the world?
Well, no, I think that, well, we all know that there's really not much more he can do. I think, if anything, that was a message, a hidden message to his team, that they all need to do better. I mean, he's the leader. I mean, it's easy for him to sit up there and say, well, hey, look at my stat line, I'm doing this and that. What the hell is everybody else doing? But he's the leader, and I thought that was that really showed the maturity and leadership on his part by saying that, you know, he could play better, he could do better. You know, we could do better. He didn't speak as far as you or I or them or me. You know, everything was we. You know, we need to do better. We need to get offensive rebounds. We need to execute better. So I think that was a leadership answer to that question.
Gotcha. All right. Last question that we're getting from online is, you know, back to LeBron making that statement that he feels confident because he's the best player in the world. You know, did Michael ever hint around knowing that he was the best player in the league? Did he ever kind of make that blunt statement even when the Bulls were in opposition? Was that ever said?
Well, to my memory, Michael would never come out and say anything like that he was the best player in the world. But I know that there were times that Michael really took pride in how much work he put into his craft, into his game. When people wanted to give him credit or even wanted to discredit him, he always hung his hat on the fact that he really put a lot of work into his craft. He really practiced and worked on his game. If you look back over his career, I think back in '87, he averaged 37 points a game. You know, people criticized him and said that he could only score and couldn't do nothing else. But what did he do? He came back the following year and became the Defensive Player of the Year and also led the league in steals. No, you would never hear any type of arrogant talk coming from Michael. He was one of those players that he let his play on the floor do the talking for him.
Great. All right, folks, visit us at 2132.wordpress.com.
Yes.
This is Christopher here. He is the writer on the blog. So check us out.
All right, everybody, have a wonderful evening. And I'll be sure to check you out on Tuesday, following up for Game 6.
Okay.
Peace.
Peace.
Okay, everyone, we are wrapping up for the evening. I hope everyone enjoyed the post-game talk of Game 5. Be sure to come check us out on Tuesday following Game 6, which is in Cleveland, and we'll do a recap on that. Okay, so be sure to check us out when you get a chance. Okay, 2132.wordpress.com.
Just like it is on
Just like it
YouTube.
is on YouTube. Okay. Okay. Have a wonderful evening. Talk to you. Okay. Peace.